Welcome back to Nicholas Comic Corner Classic Non-Classics. This is episode number 1826 and double shot number 1720. I got two Marvel trades, both of whom basically limited series that were released in 2011. First released during the event Fear Itself, the other was one of the two limited series that came after Fear Itself. Yeah. First up, we have Fear Itself Homefront, which is in basically kind of an anthology type series. It's mostly like a side thing for some other characters, not like the big players. Kind of what they were up to during the events of Fear Itself. The main story had running all the issues focused on Speedball. Yes, and he runs into Miriam Sharp, the woman behind the Superhero Registration Act. Which, by the way, I should point out, at the time this book was released, the act was repealed a year prior to this by the president at the time, which was Barack Obama. The reason why, because she felt she feeling firmly in the act, and yeah, she didn't like the fact no one Osmond uses to basically commit crimes. He basically was brought in jail, but she does not like Speedball because she blames him for what happened in Stanford. And I'm like, really, Miriam? You don't want to blame the guy who actually did the frickin' bombing? Nitro? Why keep constantly blaming Speedball for this? Yeah, he may be the one fighting him, but he's not the one who blew himself frickin' up to kill 600 people, including 60 school children. That was not his fault. That was all of Nitro. Blaming him is quite stupid. And in my opinion, yeah, I think a lot of people at this point in time were like really getting sick of this. Where Speedball and the New Warriors get constantly blamed for causing Civil War I, even though it was Nitro's fault. Yeah, you don't blame him. Oh no! And by the way, fun fact: 16 years since the event happened, never had a trial in the whole entire history of Marvel Comics where he's put on trial for the Stanford disaster. Nope. Never. He's been captured, thrown in jail, put on trial. Nope. Not really. Eventually, Mirashab does put behind her hatred for Speedball in order for him to save the day against, I think it was like the Juggernaut. Yeah, he ran into the freaking Juggernaut, who was actually one of the worthy. Yeah, one of the things he was up during Spirit itself. Yeah, he was one of the worthy. There's also something here with Absorb Man. This kind of takes place during, the whole story with this takes place during what was going on from the perspective of Avengers Academy. I'm surprised they include the Speedball stuff in the Fear Itself Academy, Avengers Academy trade. Yeah, I would have thought they would have, given the fact focus on Speedball and of course associated with Avengers Academy, it would throw it in there. Nope, they didn't. All they did was throw in the issues of Fear Itself and something before that, and that was it. Yep, there are other ones in here. There's also a story featuring Spider-Girl, Power Man, Thunderstruck, X-23 Army as Cho, where the middle Pacific Ocean, and by the way, the base they're at, this I thought was quite interesting when it comes to this particular place here. Oh yeah, and also Speedball fights also Atuma. Yeah, he was one of the worthy too for. Yeah, him I thought was kind of head scratching, to say the least. Yes, but in the case of the teenage superheroes, let's see. I'm trying to think who else was there. Now, basically, these are your stories in here. The Speedball stuff, that's Age of Anxiety, this is by Peter Mulligan, arc by Elita Benari. The Chosen, which is a Fred Van Lenz story, Sara Beniti. There's No Place Like Homeless, written by Jim McCann, arc by Pippi Lores. Between Stations, Corna Pachico and Lelo Bassano. You have Mike Del Mundo, who does the artwork for Breakdown, with Ben McCool does the writing. Legacy is done by Kevin McGrevics, art by MC Wyman. Red/White Blues, done by Cy Spur, art by Jace Latour. Fear and Self-Bully in Wisconsin. Yeah, this is a Great Lake Adventure story. And this is done by Elliot Kane and Ty Templeton. Homefront Phone Lines, done by Brian Kevin and art by Pablo Ramonai. And Howard Shaker does A Moment With. Now, the Speedball story is the main thing in these issues here. Yes. And we have stuff here with Age of Anxiety, it's Peter Millick and stuff. Yes, that's the Age of Atlas story, yes. The Speedball one, that's done by... they don't list basically who does it. Yeah. Age of Atlas is mostly for what Age of Atlas themselves were up to during the events of Fear itself. That's mostly put exactly what they were up to. And of course, Johnny Woo stayed over the line a few times. Okay, now the place, if I can find it here. Where the Chosen basically ended up. Yeah, Kardec prepared one of these stories too. Legacy is just a story for Blue Marvel. Yep. Yeah, I think prior to this, I think his last appearance was actually in his own miniseries, Blue Marvel, which I think was written by the same guy who wrote this story here. Yes. The Chosen, which have this base here, which by the way has the symbol for Fear itself in here as a small little Easter egg. Yeah. Now this in the strike is not the original one. Oh no, that guy hasn't done since the 90s. This is Eric. This is his son. He's the current Thunderstrike. Prior to this, he was just featured in the pages of his own miniseries, and I believe not long after this became part of Avengers Academy. Yeah, the whole thing with him being there. It turns out something about Armada Show just forming a new superhero team. Yeah, that was really the whole point of it. I gotta say, the stuff in here is actually really good. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. And if you're curious, though, when was the next time Marvel ever did something like this, where you have like something from the perspective of smaller scale stories? Well, Marvel wouldn't do this again until Original Sin. Yes, a side anthology series. You can say, what about AVX? What about the AVX miniseries, one with 6 issues? That was basically 2 characters just fighting each other for all these issues, but that doesn't count. This basically was the last one until Original Sins. And after that, nothing. Absolutely freaking... There's been some side stories, like War of the Realms. So that's something else. Alright, next up we have the one of 2 limited series that came out after Fear itself. Part of the Shattered Heroes story, Shattered Heroes stuff going on at the time. This is Battle Scars, a 6-issue miniseries plus material Fear number 7. This is written by 3 people. Colin Bunn, Matt Fraction, the guy behind Fear itself, his only crossover did, and Colin Bunn, art by Scott Eden. The story for this one, we have a soldier who's an armed ranger. His name is Marcus Johnson. I will get to basically the basis for him. And his partner Cheese, who's being targeted by the Taskmaster. Why, you might ask? Well, it's not revealed the reason why people are after him. Captain America will give him a straight story, and he won't reveal exactly why. Just say the sideline, let us know this. And Marcus is like, no, they came after me, and they killed my mom. Yeah, his mother gets killed off in the series. And then like half of the miniseries, he's battling a guy named Scorpion. He's battling Scorpion, who turns out to be Nick Fury. And he reveals to him, my name is Fury, and so is yours. Yes, basically, Marcus Johnson is revealed to be Nick Fury's son. And he's not believing at first, and apparently his mother, he thought it was more like a teacher and like a salesperson. No, she was previously CIA before she basically had him. And the thing is, Nick Fury kind of knew about him, but he never reached out to them just basically for their safety. Then, of course, basically gets captured. Apparently, he finds out, he thought he was lying at first. And then finds out, yep, everything is true. And he had this old man pop up in the miniseries like, you look almost nothing like your father. Then he takes out a knife, cuts out his eyeball, like, now you look like your father. Yeah, it gives the excuse of why he has to wear an eye patch. And then basically he teams briefly attack Taskmaster taking on some villains. And then he's offered to join S.H.I.E.L.D. with his partner Cheese. Who turns out to be, get this, you're going to love this. Now, I'm not going to show off basically what he looks like here. Now, this is what Nick Fury gets to wear, and he wears a lot of the time. And who is Agent Cheese, you might ask? Phil Coulson! Yep, this miniseries had his comic book debut. Yeah, roughly 4 years, actually 3 years after his MCU debut, he's finally appears in the comics. Oh, and here's the thing. We also had Deadpool Bob of this miniseries. Yes, freaking Deadpool. Awesome. Not a bad idea throwing Deadpool because Colin Bowles writing a lot of miniseries at this point in time. Yeah. Now, I get why he was thrown in here. Now, Matt Fraction, I get the reason why he's one of the writers for his miniseries. Because he wrote Fear itself, so of course he'd basically write this one. The whole point of this book is just to introduce Nick Fury's son, Marcus Johnson, who turns out his legal name is... His legit name is Nick Fury Jr. Yep, and I have heard a ton complaining about this character. By the way, I get this miniseries is really good. It basically is a good spy story mixed with armor stuff. And of course, Nick Fury remembers, oh yeah, he was an Armor Ranger. Yep. Now, I have heard this character has gotten a lot of flack for the last decade. For good reason, because basically he was brought in just to replace the white Nick Fury. All because Nick Fury's back in the movies, so let's have a black Nick Fury in the comics. Despite the fact we technically had one in the Ultimate Universe. Did the writers in the main Marvel Universe forget we already had one? Oh, we gotta have a black Nick Fury in the regular Marvel Universe. Even though we had one, and his parents is based upon Samuel Jackson. Who, by the way, loved him. He was actually not, he actually, get this. He never sued Marvel for using his likeness mission. He actually loved it, from what I heard, that he get a chance to basically use his likeness to be Nick Fury. And then, because he appeared in Iron Man 1, just like Phil Coulson, we have to bring in a black Nick Fury. Some say basically Nick Fury changed skin color. Nope, this guy is his son. Yes, let me point out though, Nick Fury Jr., this black Nick Fury is the son of the original. And they practically retired him. And then he's not seen again for 3 years. Yeah, he does pop again to Original Sin. After this miniseries wraps up. And what does he do after this miniseries? Well, excuse me. The following year after this miniseries came out, he actually was part of 2 series on one on a regular basis, the other as a recurring character. The one recurring character he appeared as a recurring character in was Wolverine. Yes, because his father appeared in the original ongoing series, so why not have him appear there? He was also appearing on a regular basis in the pages of Secret Avengers with his old friend Phil Coulson. Yep, and at first he's not drawn like Clark Gregg. Then later on they do draw him like Clark Gregg for some reason, I'm not sure why. But they do. And this version of this character will be around for the next decade in the comics. Yep, he's around for a long time. And then he basically was around for 6 years. Then he got killed off by Gary Duggan in the pages of Deadpool. Why, you might ask? As a senator for Secret Empire. Yep. And then he comes back 1 year later. At the time, no explanation, and it was kind of implied he was brought back from Mephisto, and he, at first, basically was acting like the way he did in the MCU. And then when he came back, he burned his Captain America trading cards. Because he hates superheroes, because he got killed by one. Yeah, currently he's in Mephisto's dimension. Jason Aaron is responsible for basically bringing him back and turning him evil. And also forming his own version of the Avengers for the United States, known as the Squadron Supreme America. Despite the fact there already is a Squadron Supreme. Several versions of them. Yeah, they probably want a 616 version, and the whole point of this particular group existing was to set up Heroes Reborn last year. Which actually was really good crossover. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But in case Nick Fury himself, aside appearing in, Wolverine and, Secret Avengers, which that one he appeared pretty much the entire run of that, for the entirety of the second and third volume of the series. He also appeared in books like All New Wolverine. I'm trying to think what else he appeared in. He didn't appear in X-Men as far as I remember. No, he did appear in Kenny X-Men when Bendis wrote the book. But on the X-Men, nope, he never did. Let me think here. He did eventually get his own solo book in 2017. Yeah, right after S.H.I.E.L.D. disbanded, they basically gave him a brief ongoing series that lasted 5 issues before getting canceled. Done by James Robinson. Basically, it was like a James Bond style series. Also, he shaved his goatee. Yeah, at the start of this mini-series, he's got a full head of hair, though it's very thin, and he's clean shaven. But at the end of the mini-series, he shaves his head and grows a goatee. The whole reason for this is because let's bring in the version of Samuel Jackson's and Nick Fury to the Marvel Comic Universe. And unlike the original Nick Fury, who, as far as I could tell, was a very beloved character, very beloved Stan Lee created character, and of course, by Jack Kirby, this guy has gotten mixed reception over the years. There's a little more negative toward him than basically positive. He's around for roughly 11 years right now. Yes, 11 years since this guy's debut. And he still gets basically mixed reception. Heck, his ongoing series was basically like barely a reason why we had to keep the book going. Mm-hmm. One thing I'm not really a fan of is like taking characters like Nick Fury Jr. and have where characters like Captain America are keeping them in the dark because reasons per se. Mm-hmm. Well, he did probably even like did regular appearance in Secret Avengers. He granted, of course, Wolverine. He also appeared books like Scarlet Spider, an issue of Hawkeye, one show is Captain America Triumph and Transformation Triumph. Of course, yes, he was appearing in Kenny X-Men, and sort of a minor recurring character in that book. Though he also appeared in the actual main Captain America book. Did he appear when Rick Remender wrote the book? Oh, yes, he did. Yeah, he was a regular character in this book, too. And then he became a briefly recurring character in The Amazing Spider-Man. And basically didn't really do very much in Civil War II. Mostly he had his feature done Civil War II Choosing Sides. Appearing, like I said, all in the Wolverine for like one story arc. And pop up here and there. And he, of course, yeah, an ongoing series. I thought it was actually 5 issues. It was actually 6. Yeah. Now, they only canceled this book because Robinson left the company. That's my personal guess. He also basically became recently and last after Secret Empire. He became a regular character briefly pages The Punisher of all things. Yes, The Punisher. Yeah, then he also popped up like books like Mortal Hulk, Return to Captain America. He appeared for a small chunk of the volume. Appeared in Taskmaster. I mean, his most recent appearance was actually in, get this, Giant Size Black Cat Infinity Score #1. That was his most recent appearance to date. And that came out 6 months ago. Yeah, they pretty much, in a way, stopped featuring him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, as for why he has not made an appearance in 6 months, I have no idea. Okay, so that's the particular video. I have several more videos I'm going to do today. Next one, of course, is going to be Comic Corner, but before I do that, I had to vacuum. And after that, I'll be doing 2 more Comic Corners. Well, I do another comic corner, I gotta do something else, and then of course back here for one more comic corner. And after I get all three of them up, then I'll go ahead and get started with the Rise of the Hero. Okay, next video. Bye.